The Premier League clash was held at Selhurst Park, with most Liverpool fans thinking they'd squeezed a point out of the game after Federico Chiesa's late strike. In the end, however, it wasn't meant to be, with Eddie Nketiah managing to slip one past Alisson in the dying embers of the game after a long throw by Jefferson Lerma landed at his feet. Saturday was also Alexander Isak's first Premier League start for Liverpool since joining from Newcastle, and to be honest, his performance was rather forgettable. In fact, Palace's fans even made him aware of how they felt about him after they targeted him with a taunting chant when he was taken off the pitch by Arne Slot. Crystal Palace fans told Alexander Isak that he was a waste of money for Liverpool this season. Many fans and pundits expected Liverpool's attack to be almost unstoppable this season. However, due to the lack of match fitness that Isak has and the fact that Florian Wirtz hasn't fully settled in yet, things haven't been going all that great for Liverpool's attack. Hugo Ekitike has been the shining light for the Anfield outfit this season, but since he got himself suspended during the Reds' Carabao Cup tie against Southampton, he was unavailable for Saturday's game. This is where many thought that Isak would come into his own and prove why Liverpool chose to spend £125 million on him, but instead, he was met with ridicule from Palace's fans, who chanted that he was a waste of money for Liverpool. That is, according to the Athletic journalist Greg Evans, who shared what Palace's fans were doing via his personal X account. Isak is replaced by Nwoma, and with Crystal Palace still 1-0 up, he wrote, "The home fans choose to chant, 'What a waste of money' to #LFC record signing who had a couple of good chances but, ultimately, had a frustrating afternoon." Throughout the entire summer transfer window, it was clear that Liverpool wanted to sign Isak before the season kicked off. However, due to Newcastle's stubbornness, the Sweden international ended up joining on deadline day, which meant that he hadn't played any proper football since the end of the 2024-25 season. This means that Isak has been trying to build his match fitness up ever since making the switch to Anfield, and although he's getting there now, his performances show how far behind his teammates he actually is. As mentioned, Ekitike has been a shining light for Liverpool, and even though he was only suspended for Saturday's game, it was clear how much Slot missed him. At the moment, it feels silly for Liverpool to have broken the British record transfer fee to sign Isak, especially with the multiple chances he missed against Oliver Glasner's men. Here's hoping that the striker's next few performances are much better than what has been on display so far. Liverpool suffered their first defeat of the season on Saturday after failing to hold on against Crystal Palace. The Reds hauled themselves back into a game they barely deserved to be in, Federico Chiesa leveling with just minutes left on the clock. But where Liverpool have been brilliant at scoring late winners this season, they soon got a taste of their own medicine. Former Arsenal striker Eddie Nketiah did his old team a favor by slotting past the terrific Alisson Becker to win the game for Palace. It was a bitter blow for Liverpool, but no less than they deserved after an incredibly shoddy day at the office. While fingers will be pointed at several players following defeat, former Liverpool player Don Hutchison has claimed that one was perhaps more to blame than anyone else. Liverpool fans have become so used to scoring late this season that many may have expected another showing against Palace. At the very least, it had looked as though Chiesa's goal had given them another moment to savor towards the end of a match. But there was a sting in the tail, and it came from Palace. Nketiah somehow got free at the back post after Liverpool failed to deal with a long throw-in and won the game for the Eagles. There were plenty of Liverpool players at fault for handing Arne Slot his first defeat of the Premier League season. But according to Hutchison, plenty of blame lay at the feet of Milos Kerkez, who was the man to give away the throw in the first place. The bad decision in the build-up was Kerkez not clearing the ball with his right foot. He kicked it out cheaply for a Palace throw-in, and how they've made him pay, the pundit told PremierLeague.com. It was not only Kerkez who should be feeling disappointed for the part he played in Palace's late winner. Curtis Jones gave the home side a big helping hand by somehow heading the ball towards the back post and into the path of Nketiah. Jones only had to connect with the header and it would have been clear of danger and the final whistle would likely have gone. Instead, the midfielder flicked it on, needlessly diverting it to Nketiah. Liverpool arguably deserved nothing from Saturday's match and many of the players should be taking a hard long look at themselves. But in Kerkez and Jones, There are two easily identifiable guilty parties. Liverpool were beaten 2-1 by Crystal Palace on Saturday. The Reds were dominated by Oliver Glasner's men, with several members of Liverpool's first-team squad failing to live up to expectations. Arne Slot chose to line his team up somewhat differently against the Eagles, with Florian Wirtz being used on the left wing. In the end, it didn't work out how the Dutchman would have wanted, with Liverpool being lucky that they weren't 5 or 6 goals down in the first 45 minutes. Although none of Liverpool's players performed all that well, Ibrahima Konate had a particularly terrible time on Saturday. Konate has been well off the pace ever since the 2025-26 season kicked off. The centre-back's future has been under constant scrutiny due to him entering the final year of his current deal at Anfield. Real Madrid have been interested in the defender for as long as many can remember, with their interest likely unsettling the former RB Leipzig man. And, while commentating on the game for BBC Radio 5 Live, Chris Sutton tore into Konate after the performance he put in. I think this season, Liverpool, looked lax defensively. I've seen Konate numerous times, slack as anything, he got there in front of Mateta, but Mateta just pinches the ball off him. He then comes around him, 1-versus-1 with Alisson. I think he could go around Alisson, he doesn't, he opens his body up to go into the far corner. Alisson reads it, another big save. Even though Liverpool may have paid £35 million for Konate, over the last few weeks, he's been the Reds' worst player. However, since Giovanni Leone is now ruled out for around a year and Joe Gomez is also half the player he used to be, the Frenchman is the best option that Arne Slot has. At the moment, it feels like the Anfield outfit would be lucky if Real Madrid chose to take him off their hands for nothing at the end of the season. Of course, players can't through bad runs of form, but the fact that Konate has only played well in around 2 games this season shows how poor he's actually been. Saturday's game against Palace has also made it abundantly clear why Slot wanted to sign Marc Guéhi in the January transfer window. And, even though a move for the Englishman in January feels unlikely, if Konate continues playing like this, it feels like Slot may have to change his tune. Liverpool were beaten for the first time this season by Crystal Palace, who scored a late winner. One of Liverpool's worst first-half performances this season, with a goal from Ismaila Sarr putting Palace ahead. The Reds' unbeaten run looked to be saved by a Federico Chiesa goal out of nowhere to end the game level, but Eddie Nketiah at the back post wins the game for Oliver Glasner's side. Arne Slot will definitely be frustrated with some of the individual performances of his side, but the team as a whole looked disjointed. Alisson Becker. 8. There was nothing that could be done about both Palace goals, and it was proven by the fact that the Brazilian had a stellar game, saving the Reds from going at least 4-0 down in that first half. It was more of the same in the second half, and that is what was needed. Connor Bradley, 5. While he found himself tactically subbed off after the first half of football, he did work quite hard this afternoon and seemed more comfortable than others. Bradley was at fault for giving away the corner, but it was so close that not much could be done about it.